Hi, Neely. Hi, Patty.
Hi, Donna.
Oh.
Good evening.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much. Happy to be.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so we can get started. First, let's do our motivation for doing the practice. And this is the one that was written in this text, the essence of vast and profound. Set your motivation by thinking, I will achieve Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings, my past mothers. I will therefore listen to this profound teaching on the 3 scopes of the Lamrim and then practice it. I'm going to share the screen so we can say our opening prayers. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. And the mandala offering is ground anointed with
perfume strewn with flowers. For continents, the sun and the moon.
I imagine this as a Buddha.
The field and offer it.
All living beings enjoy this pure land. O holy and perfect pure Lama, from the clouds of compassion that form in the skies of your Dharmakaya wisdom, please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Idam Guru Ratamandalakam Niryatayame. Okay, so we are on page 366 in the hard copy form of the essence of the vast and profound in the section titled The Environmental Effect. So it's almost at the end of day 19, if you have the PDF version. Regarding the environmental effect, this ripens as the external worldly environment. Furthermore, through killing, your food, drink, and medicine will have little power will be difficult to digest and won't agree with your physical constitution. Through stealing, you will have droughts and floods. Your crops will yield very few harvests, and your yogurt, butter, milk, and so forth will diminish. There will be heavy snow for the nomads in the winter, and droughts will occur for the local people in the summer. Thus, when people of a certain region engage in stealing, it ripens externally as the environmental effect. Through sexual misconduct, the place where you live will have a multitude of impurities, such as being muddy, filthy, unclean, and so forth. Through lying, you'll be deceived and very fearful. Through slander, the land will not be level, will be bumpy, will be difficult to traverse, will not have grass, trees, and so forth. Through harsh speech, there will be numerous unpleasant features such as logs, thorns, gravel, riverbanks that are at a steep incline, and so on. Through idle gossip, the fruit trees will not develop fruit, or they will develop fruit at the wrong time. Through covetousness, business will be scarce through objects such as food, clothes, and so on. And all the best things in life, such as crops, cattle, and so forth, will progressively decline. Through malice, there will be a great deal of harm and injury from humans and non-humans, such as battles, epidemics, and so on. Through wrong views, although it is taught that good will overcome evil, there is a saying that states, the sources of the finest things are waning, and these days it is as if riches such as gold and so forth, which were previously valued, don't have any value, and the source of the jewels is declining. Presently, whatever happiness and suffering we have in this life are all the results of the virtue and non-virtue we performed in a previous life. Therefore, if we wish for happiness in our next rebirth and the lives after that, from this moment onward, we must properly perform forsaking non-virtuous and adopting virtuous actions and their effects. Contemplating virtuous cause and effect has two sections. One, virtuous actions, two, their results. Virtuous actions. If you're about to engage in any of the 10 non-virtues and immediately stop yourself, that non-engagement is a path of virtuous karma that is in opposition to the 10 non-virtues. For example, abandoning killing is an illustration of a karmic path. The basis is another living being. The intention is the thought not to kill by observing its faults and cultivating the desire to abandon killing. The preparation is embodied in the activity of correctly restraining yourself from killing. The completion is the physical karma of not killing that is completed by perfect restraint. You can apply the same reasoning of this system to the other 9 virtues. Their results has 3 sections. 1, the ripened result. 2, the result similar to the cause. 3, the environmental effect, the ripened result. Great virtuous actions result in rebirth as a god in the higher realms. Middling virtuous actions will result in rebirth as a desired realm god, and lesser virtuous actions result in human rebirth. The result similar to the cause has 2 sections. 1, the experience similar to the cause. 2, the tendency similar to the cause. The experience similar to the cause. Through consensually abandoning killing and so forth, you will have a long life, vast enjoyments, and so on. Although some thieves and butchers have vast resources and long life and so on, this is a result of their actions in a previous life. The tendency is similar to the cause. You will sequentially delight in abandoning killing and so forth. The environmental effect. Food, drink, and medicine will have great efficacy. These are the opposite of the non-virtuous environmental effects. A presentation of the classification of karma has 2 sections. The distinction between projecting and completing karma. 2, karma whose result it will definitely or only possibly experience. The distinction between projecting and completing karma. Although virtue will project you into a happy rebirth and non-virtue will project you into a lower realm, the lower realms, there is no certainty with respect to completing karma. With respect to being projected through non-virtuous projecting karma, being completed through virtuous completing karma, this will result in births and forms such as those of a powerful naga or hungry ghost. In short, this also applies to the riding horse or pet dog and so forth of a great lama or official. Being projected by virtuous projecting karma and completed with non-virtuous completing karma would be to become someone with a human body who is destitute, has a short life, many illnesses, incomplete sense faculties, and pure physique, is imprisoned, and so forth. If you understand these 2, the other 2 are easy to understand. Karma whose result you will definitely or only possibly experience. For this, there is both the karma that you are certain to experience and the karma that you're not certain to experience. A complete accumulation of an action and one that we are certain to experience are synonymous. Even for this karma that we are certain to experience, there is also one that is definitely purified when powerful and effective confession has been carried out through the four opponent powers. For example, if you have the motivation intended to engage in an act such as killing, yet there is no actual basis of killing, you nevertheless accumulate the karma of killing. Conversely, without a mind thinking about the act of killing, even when you kill a bug under your foot while you are walking, you don't accumulate the karma of killing. You don't accumulate the karma even if you engage in killing against your will. You don't accumulate the karma of killing if it is done in a dream and so forth. Therefore, it is not definite that you will experience its results. If you're willing, have the motivation, and actually engage in an action, then you have a complete accumulation of an action, and you will be certain to experience its result. Regarding the mode of experience, there are actions that you will experience in this life, such as great negative actions carried out in relation to a special field. It is a unique quality of this world that noble causes such as studying, contemplating, and so on, carried out in the earlier part of one's life, can be experienced in the later part of one's life as a state of enlightenment and so forth. Regarding experiences once you have taken rebirth, they can be experienced in 2 lives or experienced over a number of other lives, such as being experienced from the 3rd life onward. Day 20. In his Songs of Spiritual Experience, Jamgon Tsongkhapa the Great stated, "You will not make an effort if you do not contemplate the faults of the truth of suffering, and you will not strive for liberation if you do not contemplate the stages of entering samsara and the true origins. You will not know how to sever the root of samsara. Therefore, rely upon aversion and renunciation of all existence, and cherish the knowledge of what binds us to samsara. Contemplate, thus, if I wish to strive for liberation from samsara, once I contemplate the faults of the truth of suffering, I must develop a mind that has a natural revulsion for samsara. When that occurs, I will easily give birth to a mind striving for liberation. For that, I must consider severing the root of samsara. For that reason, I'm going to listen to the stages of the path to enlightenment. Contemplating the specifics of actions and their effects is 2 sections. The good qualities and function of karma maturations, 2, the cause of karmic maturations. The good qualities and function of karmic maturations. J. Lama Tsongkhapa also stated in Songs of Spiritual Experience, until you attain a physical form with all the characteristics for accomplishing the supreme path, you will not make much progress. Therefore, train in the causes to complete them. You should not be content through merely obtaining a human body accomplished by protecting your moral discipline of abandoning the 10 non-virtues. Instead, you must attain a physical form endowed with the 8 good qualities of karmic maturation for accomplishing the state of liberation and omniscience. Although we won't understand how to accomplish the 8 good qualities of karmic maturation from the teaching on the sadhana of our personal deity, we will definitely attain the 8 good qualities of karmic maturation if we accomplish the cause to attain an excellent physical form with 8 special qualities of karmic maturation on the basis of perfectly protecting our moral discipline of abandoning the 10 non-virtues. If that happens, the amount of ground we can cover on the path of meditation will be like nothing else. The 8 good qualities are 1, a consummate lifespan, 2, consummate color, 3, consummate lineage, 4, consummate power, 5, great renown, 6, trustworthy words, 7, being a male, and 8, being endowed with strength. Regarding the functions of these 8, through a long life, you will perfect whatever dharma you engage in. Through an excellent form, you will attract many disciples. Through a high lineage, you will be respected and venerated by all people. Through great resources, you will be able to attract a retinue by fulfilling the aspirations of your disciples with material things. Through great power, everyone will automatically listen to what you say. Through trustworthy words, everyone will have high regard for whatever you instruct them to do because they will accept you as being true. Through being born a male, you will have few obstacles to engaging in virtue. Through being endowed with physical and mental strength, you will be able to practice dharma like J. Milarepa, who will have the great strength to accomplish attainments. The cause of karmic maturations. Although it's important to acquire karmic maturations, you will wonder about not acquiring such qualities. For example, to pick fruit in the fall, you must plant seeds in the spring. Likewise, by its very nature, if you assemble a complete set of causes, they will bear fruit. If you accomplish the causes for these 8 qualities, you will reap results. Therefore, the causes of the first of the good qualities of karmic maturation are to abandon killing, care for the ill, give medicine, save lives, not engage in harming other living beings in the thought or action, and so on. The causes of the second good quality are to build statues of the conqueror, repair them, repair the color of their garments, offer butter lamps, and so forth, give new garments, meditate on patience, and so forth. The causes of the third one are to abandon pride and to act with respect to your guru, master, father, mother, and so on, as if you were their servant. The causes of the fourth are to benefit those of various social standings with necessities and to engage in generosity. The causes of the fifth are to revere and worship your abbot, master, father, mother, and so on, as well as your teachers and educators, and to make prayers that will lead to various good qualities in your next life. The cause of the 6th is to abandon non-virtuous speech. The causes of the 7th are to have a dislike for articles of women, such as clothing, jewelry, and so forth, to forsake castrating living beings for the sake of obtaining rebirth in a male body, to recite the names of 5 bodhisattvas such as Geshe, Lama, Ki, Tog, and so forth. For example, if a monk who has a stallion engages in castrating it, this will be the cause not only of going to the lower realms, but also, despite the fact that he has obtained a male body in this life, of taking numerous subsequent rebirths as a woman. Therefore, it is utterly inappropriate. The causes of the 8th good quality are to accomplish yourself the actions that others are incapable of doing, or to assist them in this, to not engage in beating others and so forth, as well as to give food and drink to others. While accomplishing all 8 good qualities as explained in the scriptures, if the 3 aspects of pure intention, pure preparation, pure field are also complete, and the actions that produce the 8 good qualities, they will become great. To accomplishing the causes in this way, you will definitely obtain an excellent body endowed with the 8 good qualities of karmic maturation in your next life. However, you must also make dedication prayers to direct them so that they don't become a cause of negativity. Otherwise, even after you have accomplished the causes for attaining a human life with 8 qualities of karmic maturation, it's possible that you may be reborn as a human, such as the king of a border region where the Buddhist teachings don't exist, and thus that excellent human body will become a vessel for negativity. You could have great power capable of accumulating immense negativity that no one else would be capable of. So that you don't become such a vile person, it is extremely important that you make powerful and excellent prayers to become a vessel for the Dharma. Contemplate the general and specific characteristics of actions and their effects by thinking over their nature in 2 sessions, and having contemplated them, practice engagement and disengagement of virtue and non-virtue between the sessions. How to practice engagement and disengagement once you have reflected on the general and specific characteristics of actions and their effects. Reflect on actions and effects during the essence of the session. Between sessions, if you place your trust in your practice of adopting virtue and abandoning negativity, you will establish a basis for the Dharma. The very outset of your practice begins with actions and their effects. Therefore, rely upon introspection and conscientiousness with respect to our 3 doors. We must earnestly strive in adopting and forsaking virtue and non-virtue through an appreciation for the subtlety of the causes and consequences of karmic actions. J. Milarepa stated, if you don't contemplate the cause and effect of virtuous and non-virtuous actions, it will ripen as the unbearable suffering of the lower realms. Please maintain mindfulness that is conscientious with respect to karmic maturation in minute detail. Through merely engaging in recitations, you won't be liberated from the lower realms. Therefore, we should engage in authentic Dharma practice, like Geshe ben Gungal, as explained in his biography. We keep account with our rosary of whatever slight virtue we engage in, yet we cover up, like a cat with its feces, however many grave non-virtues we perform them. Nevertheless, we will be unable to conceal them from Dharmaraja, the Lord of Death. With the exception of the trivial non-virtues we engage in, we don't notice in the slightest the negativities that occur or don't occur. A bhikshu, for example, doesn't count even one of the faults he engages in on a daily basis, from the faulty way he drinks a cup of noodles on up or down to wearing his lower garment incorrectly. Although he recognizes virtue and negativity, it is a fault not to act appropriately. In his songs of spiritual experience, J. Lama Tsongkhapa proclaimed, saturated by the stains and negativities and downfalls of the 3 doors, there is in particular great importance in purifying karmic obscurations. Therefore, continuously cherish reliance upon the 4 complete powers. No matter how careful we try to be, because of the force of our great familiarity with non-virtue since beginningless time, we find it difficult not to incur the slightest fault. Therefore, we should appropriately apply confession and restraint, the 4 opponent powers, to what we generally don't consider or classify as negativity. If we wish to accumulate merit, we must conjoin confession and restraint with the confession of moral downfalls, the 100-syllable mantra, and so on. Nevertheless, although we engage in negativity, it is inappropriate to think that it is sufficient to engage in confession. It is 2 different things to not be defiled by negativity in the first place and to purify it through confession. For example, this is like the difference between a person who hasn't broken his leg and another person who did break his leg, then had it mended through medicine and so forth, as I taught earlier. In general, there isn't sufficient proof for us to claim, I haven't accumulated negative karma since the beginning of time. We have such a huge number of negative imprints that counting each and every one would be endless and would be like the storehouse of a great and powerful king. Therefore, until we receive the signs of purifying these negativities in this life, we should continue confessing them for the entire length of our lives and continue to sincerely apply ourselves even when the signs do occur. Once you practice in this way, if you repeatedly receive clear signs in your dreams, indicating that you've purified your neighbor karma, then it has been purified. If you don't repeatedly train in something like scanning meditation, once you have listened to teachings on the Lamrim, then afterward, no matter how many teachings you listen to, it will be of no benefit and you will become jaded toward the Dharma. Even though you use water to control blazing kindling, if the water becomes set ablaze, what will extinguish it? For example, if wood and so forth is blazing, water will extinguish it. But if the water were somehow made flammable, there will be no other way to extinguish the fire. Likewise, if you become jaded toward other Dharma teachings, you can be subdued to the Lamrim. If you become jaded toward the Dharma of the Lamrim, however, there is absolutely nothing else that will be capable of subduing you. The 100 verses also states, the monk who has disrobed, the woman has been with 3 husbands, and the jackal that freed itself from a trap. You should know these 3 to be devious types. Next, combine scanning meditation on the proper reliance on the spiritual guide, leisure and endowment, and so on sequentially for a year or a month. Listen to teachings such as those on impermanence in the presence of your guru. Gain certainty in the mind through listening, and then go to your separate place whereby you will attain certain knowledge arisen through meditation that is superior even to that which you previously gained through listening. If you make a sincere effort in that way, you will not become insensitive to the Dharma. If you don't meditate on the Lamrim, it doesn't matter how much you meditate on a deity or how many mantras you recite, you will not be able to elicit an experience. If you develop an experience of the great value and difficulty in obtaining leisure and endowment, it will bring a degree of certainty that it is unlike any you previously had in your mental continuum. If you develop an experience of great value and difficulty in acquiring leisure and endowment, and also of death and impermanence, it will inaugurate the installation of pure Dharma. Presently, we beginners seek out the very highest paths and a multitude of various experiences right from the very outset, yet we can't reach the higher states. Yet, if you are going to build a king's palace, for example, you need a stable foundation. And if you're going to enter the assembly hall, you must progress through stages by first crossing the threshold and so forth. In the same way, you must purify your mind properly in the coming path from proper reliance on a spiritual guide on out. Thus, despite your efforts in listening, contemplating, and meditating on the method aspect of the path, you will not accumulate a union of the 2 accumulations of merit and wisdom. I'm willing to bet everything I own that although you may be claiming to follow a profound path, there is no guarantee of enlightenment without the joint accumulation of wisdom and merit. It is enough to examine the Kongyur, Tengyur, and witnesses. Some cite reciting the names of Manjushri, designating the distinction between a single instant. You attain complete enlightenment through a single instant. And those who cite this also claim that if you meditate on recognizing one's mind as a Buddha in the morning, you will be enlightened in the morning. That if you meditate in the evening, you will become enlightened in the evening, and that beings with fortunate karma don't need to meditate on elaborations. Although they use the term enlightenment, if you adhere to that view, then the compassionate teacher and all the Indian and Tibetan pandits and siddhas didn't teach that easy and effortless method of liberation of living beings. Therefore, the holy beings who taught the countless methods for practicing accumulation and purification, the teachings of the 84,000 heaps of Dharma, either they did not have compassion or they were deceiving living beings and they incurred the fault of not being skilled in their methods. However, the Supreme Conqueror Kelsam Gyatso, the 7th Dalai Lama, said, although I have compassion for those like myself, you, Buddha, have unbearable compassion. Although we have compassion for ourselves, the teacher has compassion for living beings that is trillions of times greater and is incomparable to what we have for ourselves. Always and eternally, the Buddha does nothing other than work solely at the means of quickly establishing all living beings in a state of enlightenment. Therefore, it is utterly impossible that he would confuse or deceive us, even for an instant. Training the mind is the stage of the path of the person of middle scope. As I explained previously, by sincerely applying ourselves to the path shared with the person of small scope, we will temporarily not be reborn in the lower realms in our next life. However, that alone is not sufficient. For example, if a person has been put in prison and is certain to be executed by request of person of influence to grant him temporary reprieve from his daily beatings, the prisoner is still ultimately not able to escape his eventual execution. Next, we should train our minds to the path shared with a person of middling capacity by striving to be permanently liberated from samsara. Training the mind in the stage of the path of a person of middle scope has 4 headings. 1, Dakla training and contemplation. 2, the measure of having generated thought determined to attain liberation. 4, dispelling misconceptions. 4, developing certainty about the nature of the path leading to liberation. The actual training and contemplation has 2 sections. 1, identifying a mind striving for liberation. 2, the method for developing a mind intent on liberation. Identifying a mind striving for liberation. In general, we must attain enlightenment, and to attain that, we must develop the renunciation and so on of a person of middle scope. To develop that, it must be preceded by developing the realization of a person of small scope. To work toward liberation from samsara, we must develop the mind that desires liberation from samsara. In other words, mind striving for liberation. Liberation is the release from bondage. It is a release from the shackles that bind us to the contaminated appropriate aggregates, karma, and the afflictive emotions. The term samsara refers to the countless contaminated appropriate aggregates, from the peak of existence down to the deepest hell. It is called samsara because it is like a wheel upon which the contaminated appropriate aggregates repeatedly cycle. None of the bodies assumed in the abodes of 6 classes of living beings has been transcended samsara. Furthermore, if we explain this by illustrating with the example of someone who was bound to the trunk of a tree for the sake of easy comprehension by persons of lesser aptitude, then the trunk is the aggregates, the rope that binds him to the trunk is the afflictive motions, and the person who is the object bound is oneself. Similarly, you yourself are bound by the afflictive motions to the contaminated aggregates in samsara. When free from that, you attain liberation. Wishing to attain that state is the mind striving for liberation. All the teachings of Rinpoche Tsongkhapa are unlike others. Therefore, the intelligent should definitely study, contemplate, and meditate on the teachings of J. Rinpoche. If you read Great Treatise on the Stage of the Path 7 times, you would develop 7 different understandings. Kidrupche had a completely unbiased mind and stated that the Great Treatise is an object to be utilized. Dzogchen Patrul also stated, Tsongkhapa, the source of eloquence on Sutra and Tantra, you directly encountered Manjushri in the land of snows. The omniscience Bhutan Rinchen Drub had a very broad perspective and said that his own teachings are incomparable to any other. However, Bhutan did not say that he himself reached complete certainty about the difficult points. It is said that only J. Rinpoche's scriptures expose and come to a definitive conclusion about all the sutras and tantras. Therefore, an Amdo Lama Ga said, if you don't see it elsewhere, inquire into Bhutan's writings. If you didn't ascertain its meaning, inquire into Je Tsongkhapa's writings. The method for developing mind intent on liberation has 2 sections. 1, contemplating the false of samsara as true sufferings. 2, contemplating the stages of entering samsara as true origins. Contemplating the false samsara as true sufferings is 2 sections. 1, revealing the intention behind teaching true suffering at the beginning of the 4 Noble Truths. 2, the actual meditation on suffering. Revealing the intention behind teaching true sufferings at the beginning of the 4 Noble Truths. When the teacher first turned the wheel of Dharma, he turned the wheel of Dharma of the 4 Noble Truths. The first Noble Truth is called true sufferings, and is also a truth because the Aryas perceive suffering and so forth exactly as it is a truth. Therefore, all 4 Noble Truths are called truths for an Arya. The suffering of suffering is so forth, include all types of suffering are called true sufferings. Second Noble Truth, true origins, includes the true origins of actions and true origins of afflictive motions. The true origins of afflictive motions are the 6 root afflictions, the 20 secondary afflictions, and so on. The third Noble Truth, true successions, is succession with merit, without merit, immutable, and so on. The fourth Noble Truth, true paths, is the wisdom directly realizing emptiness in the mental continuum of an Arya in all 3 vehicles. Maitreya's sublime continuum reveals this by way of an example when it states, the illness should be known, the cause of an illness abandoned. Well-being should be attained, and the medicine should be relied upon. Likewise, should know, abandon, attain, and rely respectively upon suffering as causes of cessation and the path. Thus, like the cause of illness, true origins are the cause of suffering. By relying upon the medicine as the means of curing the disease, you abandon the true origin, which is similar to well-being. By practicing the true paths as the means to abandon true origins, you attain a true cessation, which is the elimination of true suffering. With respect to reversing the order of cause and effect and teaching the cause first, this is analogous to experience the result of a virulent illness and needing to sever the continuum of its causes. If there is a virulent illness and you know that wellness exists, you will feel the need to strive sincerely in your reliance upon medicine as the cause of curing that illness. Similarly, once you understand that there is a true origin that is the cause of whatever suffering arises, you will have the desire to attain a true cessation, which is the happiness related to that elimination of suffering. It is important that you understand the need to meditate on the path for the sake of attaining that true cessation. Striving sincerely in that way is the means of attaining cessation, which is the result of abandoning true origins that are the cause of suffering. During the first turning of the wheel, the teacher proclaimed, you should know suffering, you should abandon the true origins, you should actualize cessation, you should meditate on the path. The teaching on the major precepts of practice, the group of 5 initial disciples of the Buddha perceive the truth of reality. The 3 principal aspects of the path are of great importance. Perfecting bodhicitta is the cause of omniscience. Perfecting the views of renunciation and emptiness is the cause of liberation. Once you understand those, J. Rinpoche Tsongkhapa states, if you are without any of the 3 principal aspects of the path, the exception of rely upon the power of the field, whatever you do will turn the wheel of samsara. Also, Jetsun Manjushri said to J. Rinpoche Tsongkhapa, Jetsu Manjushi said to Geshe Tsongkhapa, initially you should set aside all the other so-called profound oral instructions and apply conceptual meditation on renunciation. And initially you should definitely set aside any of the so-called profound oral instructions of mantra and so forth and listen experience of renunciation bodhicitta. Develop those minds and then all your virtues will effortlessly become a cause of liberation and omniscience. Therefore, not being content with meditating on stages on these points is due to having absolutely no understanding of the essential points of the path. The phrase conceptual meditation means that you should employ analytical meditation. With respect to training and renunciation, bodhicitta is like sharpening a sickle in preparation for cutting the crops. If you have these two, you will make progress on the path like no other, and whatever you do will become the cause of liberation and omniscience. Kadam Funchungwa said to Geshe Chengawa, between attaining the 5 types of clairvoyance, being skilled in the 5 fields of knowledge, attaining the 8 great attainments, or generating Atisha stages of the path in your mind, which would you choose? Geshe Chengawa said, let alone generating the stages of the path in our mind, I would even choose an intellectual understanding that wonders about the stages of the path. Countless times I have attained the 5 types of clairvoyance, been skilled in the 5 fields of knowledge, obtained the 8 great attainments, yet I have not transcended or risen above samsara. If I gain certainty about the stage of the path, I can say that overcoming samsara exists. Therefore, I would choose a mere intellectual understanding heading in the direction of wondering about the stages of the path to enlightenment. Merely having the good fortune to have a direct vision of your personal deity, if in your practice something like the king of tantras, Guja Samaja, or for 1,000 years, without the Lamrim, you will not establish the imprints for the complete path to enlightenment. If you have established a good understanding of the Lamrim, you will establish special imprints for the complete path. Previously, through the force of his imprints, King Ajatashatru offered a garment to Manjushri and realized emptiness. A pigeon listened to the perfection of wisdom and 100,000 lines from Master Vasubandhu and became Shtiramati in his next life. The stages of the path to enlightenment are a means of accomplishing the 3 principal aspects of the path. Jamie Loipa stated, if you don't meditate as much as possible on the meaning of the hearing lineage, even staying in a mountain retreat will bring misery. Thus, it is very important that you first understand the way to practice Dharma. Next, it is important that you put its meaning into practice. The actual meditation on suffering has 2 sections. 1, contemplating the general sufferings of samsara. 2, contemplating the specific sufferings of samsara. Contemplating the general sufferings of samsara has 2 sections. 1, contemplating the 8 sufferings. 2, contemplating the 6 sufferings. Contemplating the 8 sufferings has 8 sections: the suffering birth, 2, the suffering aging, 3, the suffering illness, 4, the suffering death, 5, the suffering of having to encounter the unpleasant, 6, the suffering of parting from the pleasant, 7, the suffering of searching for and not finding what you desire, 8, a teaching on the suffering, the 5 appropriate aggregates. The great and middle-length treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment explain 8, 3, and 6 sufferings. Although the swift path teaches 6 types of sufferings, it is a similar system in that it contains the meaning of both the 8 and 3 types of suffering. For the most part, the Lamrim needs both analytical and placement meditation. While employing the system of analytical meditation, the commentary on valid cognition states, trembling because of desire, fear, and suffering, you are deceived by a dream enemy, and so forth. If you properly undertake the analytical meditation, you will easily develop a vivid presence and experience. Once you contemplate the 8 sufferings, you will realize that for as long as you are born within samsara, although you may claim to be a tulku, that is reincarnate Lama, there is no way for you not to experience the suffering of birth, old age, sickness, and death, and so on. Geshe is here.
Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Have a seat. Oh, gotcha. No. Good evening, all of you. Good evening. Good to see you again. Good evening. If anybody watching on YouTube, good evening. Elise, how's David doing?
Thank you for asking, Geshe. He's doing much better every day.
Oh, very good.
Sleeping well, eating well. Thank you.
Happy to hear. Very good. Thank you, Panditji. Thank you, Ching, sending the email. So I will look. Okay, I will look and hopefully find. So, oh yeah. Any question, Domasi?
No new questions tonight, Geshe, but I wanted to go back to, we had a really lively discussion last week about the paths of actions and paths, the difference between mental non-virtues and non-virtuous actions. And the person who asked the question also wanted to know, is there a karmic difference between those two? And we never got to that part of the question.
What part of the question, Domasi?
The question is there a karmic difference between mental non-virtues and non-virtuous actions that involve body and speech?
Mental non-virtuous. Then mental non-virtuous and then is a difference between mental non-virtuous and
Sorry, Geshe, I was speaking and I was muted. A difference between mental non-virtues and
so much word has been said, but could not hear even one single word.
Between mental non-virtues and non-virtues that involve body and speech.
So there's 10 non-virtues, then the 3 that's associated with the mind. So then there's like Ngagi Migewa Shi, there's 4 related to the speech, 3 related to the body. There are differences. There's the questions. These are different.
The question, Geshe, is about the karmic difference in performing these actions.
The 3 that relate to the mind, there's not really, you can talk about performing actions, but itself is non-virtuous. So the performing actions that, like, they're related to the physical, the action, they're like, maybe I don't understand the question. maybe first place, I don't understand the question very well.
Maybe the questioner would like to jump in and clarify. Maybe she doesn't remember she asked the question.
Yeah, so there are like 10 non-virtues. That's why they count 10. These are different things. So if the question is, so they want to repeat one more time, Domasi, one more time. So
Yes, Geshe, the question is, yes, there are 10 non-virtues, but is there a difference between mental non-virtues and the non-virtuous actions that involve body and speech? Is there a karmic difference between a mental non-virtue and a non-virtue involving body and speech?
Yeah, there's different. If you're talking about the result, more like it sounds like talking about the result. Yeah, there'll be like every karma has 2 different results. One is like a result similar to the cause. For example, if you lie, so there's like similar result that you may end up lying again next life. So there's another result called experiencing result. Then you are going to be lie, constantly lie about other people. That's like something that you experience. So now same that for related to the mind, like the result will be different based on like jinn, lying, then trauma, like so each action has a different result. If that's your questions, asking if there's different result, there's a different result based on three negativities related to the mind, then negativities related to the body, spirit, mind. Yeah, each one has their own unique result. The result is two types. One is a result similar to the cause, and one that you experiencing result is called nuances. You experience the result that you're going to be like. So I think that's the questions. I think. What do you think, Tomasi? I think that's the questions. Is there the questions? Yeah, karmic different, huh?
I think that's the question, Geshe-la. Yeah.
Karmic different, karmic difference. Oh yeah. Dinesh, so how much page Alhamdulillah you read?
19 pages, Geshe-la.
In day 19?
No, day 20. Well, we day 19 and 20.
Okay, 1 second. So now, if there's no more questions, then please, let me see. Are you already into the day 20?
Yes, Geshe-la.
Oh yeah, so yeah, please continue. So then read.
I'm sorry, Geshe-la, there were two other questions left from last week.
Okay.
Okay. One is, sometimes it can be discouraging when I think of all the negative karma I am creating when I speak and I'm confronted with people at work. I try to be as mindful as possible, but it is hard. What should I do?
Please never give up. Never give up. So if you give up, so then that's not good. Yeah, it's like it's not easy. It's not easy. So like because of the conditions that create the other people creates to draw that creates to contribute to your negative mindset. It's not easy. So. And if it's possible to avoid the object, means like you don't have to stick around with the object. If you can avoid the object, so there's one of the Kadamba Master suggests, like avoiding objects, so the negative mindset will die down slowly, not right away, but sticking with the object, so they're not able to apply the antidote, so then it's not really a skillful thing to do. Sometimes you'll be succeed, and sometimes you don't. But the bottom line, never give up. Sake of your own happiness, never give up. So that if you really want to enjoy solely blissful mind or joyful mind, so we should not give any opportunity for negative thoughts to rise. That's our moral responsibility, to protect yourself from negative thoughts, because the minute the negative thoughts rise, then there will be no mental happiness. So then very like if you are seeking liberation, so then it is not. It doesn't help to achieve liberation. It doesn't help you to achieve full enlightenment if you cannot, manage your thought. It's difficult. It's difficult. Otherwise, everybody will be enlightened. there will be no one sentient beings left in the samsara. If that's easy, it's not easy, it's not hard. But never give up, because you have to help yourself you have to protect yourself from the negative thoughts. Because, minute the negative thought rise, then you lose your peace of mind. So unfortunately, it's not just your negative minds, and that rise due to Taje Pangwa Mind according to Abhidharma Kosha, composed by Master Vasubandhu. Chapter number 5, I think it's chapter number 5. Taje Pangwa Mind. The situations, the current situations, that you are not free from negative thoughts, means you are not liberated yet. There's the one component that's already there, that you are not free from delusions. Then undesirable object close by, something you don't like, could be form, could be smell, could be taste, could be something touchable things, could be sound, and you are pretty close, all the objects are close by. So then, to me, namdo. So then minds start to trick, make situations worse, superimpose, exaggerate. So then, result, then negative thought rise, then nobody wins. The negative thought that you are expressing to somebody else, that person is not winning, and you yourself is not winning, because your life is occupied by negative thought, so you can't experience any peace at all. So that is the situations. Therefore, there's always risk till we liberated, till we manage our delusions. There are always risks. First thing is not being free from delusions. That's the first things. That's why it's risky. That's why it's risky, because you are not free from negative thought, delusion. That makes yourself more vulnerable. Second, undesirable object are close. That makes you more vulnerable. So then you exaggerate the situations. That makes you extremely vulnerable. So then, result, then negative thought rise. Then nobody wins. Everybody lost. Even though your ego thought, your ego think that you win, but bottom line, nobody wins. When the negative thought rise, your ego may think, oh, you win, or maybe you defeat. Actually, you didn't really defeat anything. So you didn't accomplish anything. Even though ego think you accomplished something, but bottom line, you didn't accomplish anything. So you didn't accomplish anything because your goal is to achieve liberation and full enlightenment. Regarding to that goal, you didn't defeat anything. You didn't accomplish anything. You just lost. Then of course everybody lost. Nobody gained anything. If you're seeking liberation or full enlightenment in that base, you didn't gain anything. You didn't defeat anything. The very thing that you're supposed to defeat is negative thought. You didn't do that. So there's no really defeat. Even ego thinks, oh, now you defeat your opponent or your person that you don't like, or then ego thinks, oh, you're good because you hurt that person. Hurting is not really gain. It's not really victory. Hurting is lost. Either hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, that's like huge loss. There's no gain at all. There's no gain. So that's why ego dictates us. Since from beginning time to till now, ego dictates us all the time. So if we devote ourselves to our ego, then achieving liberation will be far, far away. We need more wisdom, okay? It's difficult, but never give up. So why it's difficult, I already explained to the 4 situations. Should I say 4 situations or like 4 what? What's the best English? Or 4 cause?
4 they're both good, Geshe. 4 situations or 4 causes.
Yeah, 4 situations or 4 causes or 4 conditions that makes us vulnerable all the time. All the time. If you are not, if you don't put things into perspective, meditating on Lamrim, there's always risk. There's always risk till we liberate. So that we'll get into situations that makes us more vulnerable because of these 4 conditions: not being free from delusions, all the undesirable objects close by, then you yourself 100% devoted to the ego, tells you exaggerate, then you exaggerate, then nobody wins. Ego say, oh, maybe you did good job because that person not crying, that person looks unready, look at his face, he looks embarrassed, he looks shame, he looks unhappy. Ego tells you that you win, but bottom line, you didn't really win. Because why? Because you said harsh word, that's why you didn't win. And like your goal is to be completely free from, because you are very sick of all this negative thought. Do you really want to be freedom from that? According to that goal, you didn't defeat anything at all. You didn't defeat anything at all. You didn't gain anything. Plus, you lost something. You lost. You could gain some patience. Maybe that will push you closer to liberations, but you did not, because you totally you totally surrender yourself to the ego. You totally surrender yourself to the ego. Then ego tells, or make him embarrassed, or make her embarrassed, or make this person shame, or whatever. Make that person feel like inferior, or maybe feel bad. So that's because of these 4 conditions, So like, it makes life more vulnerable. So therefore, when you meditate on Lamrim, so that helps you to put things into perspective, and it helps you to understand what is the most important things for you, for your happiness, for your freedom. And based on that, what I should do to help to make myself closer to freedom, not to push further away from the liberation. So then, Lamrim teachings like impermanent death, impermanent, this all kind of shapes your thought. This all shapes your thought. Meditating on, reminding yourself, based on Lamrim meditation, reminding yourself that your life is precious and that's so meaningful, so difficult to find, easy to lose. So we have no clue. We are completely clueless. Whether we can live tomorrow or not, we have no clue. We just have idea, that's all. So that idea is not backed by valid base, it's just idea. that idea follows the very last minute that you hope they will live. That idea is kind of like deceiving. It's not helping us. So then having a wisdom, this every day could be the last moment. So that kind of shapes your thought. So then you choose something that is helpful for you. You don't should do something that's harmful for you instead of your own happiness. So that's what in all this Lamrim teaching, all the small scopes, all about helping yourself. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's why I've been said. Spiritual practice is helping yourself. It's not different. Whenever you do spiritual practice, don't think that's all something separate you do. No. There's exactly no difference. There's no difference between helping you. You are just helping yourself. That's all. That's all. There's not like spiritual practice. That's something I do since I become Buddhist. There's nothing to do with my life. That's that's wrong understanding. Being kind is helping yourself. That's all. Helping yourself. Being more compassionate, being more kind. Dealing with yourself without compassion, loving kindness. You do the same thing to other people. Why you don't do that to yourself? There's all the small scores about that, to helping yourself. It all boils down on yourself, Enlightenment, liberation, this is all for yourself. So based on that, we don't gain anything, So don't remember which mind in the text, So it's good to remember. Even though you cannot remember every single moment, but it's good to remember, at least once a day or twice a day, Offer victory for others. Offer victory for others. Offer victory for others. Accept defeat for yourself. Doesn't sound good because why? Because our ego doesn't like that. Our ego doesn't like that. So we have been doing what our ego likes since from beginning time to now. What's the result? Nothing. We didn't gain anything. We are still back to square one. We're still back to the square one because we've been surrounding ourselves, 100% surrounding ourselves to the ego since from beginning time to till now. What we gain? Nothing. We take our ego's order very seriously. No, we don't take Lamrim very seriously. We take our ego very seriously. We didn't gain anything because we've been defeating person after person, verbally, physically, mentally. We are doing all these negative things to hurt people. What do you gain? Nothing. So that's not a smart way to gain something, So then accepting defeat and offering the victory for others. Ego doesn't like to hear that. Because why you don't like? Because you 100% surrender to ego. So you become the main disciple of your own ego. So ego has been initiating you all the time, giving initiations, all kinds of initiations. So then you take them very seriously. Ego doesn't like. That's why you don't like, because you 100% surrender to your ego. Ego doesn't like. So the Kadama Master knows exactly how to get closer to your goal, freedom. They know. Then next time when you remember that event, you offer victory to someone, you accept defeat, not by force or by fear, by someone judging on you. You did that voluntarily, 100% based on wisdom. It's not like based on rules, religious rules, or by force, none of that. You completely did that voluntarily, totally based on wisdom that you gain practicing Lamrim. So when you remember that event, you always like your mind will cheers up. When you remember that event, your mind will be happy. So then you have hope that you can do it again. And probably you can do all the time, maybe every single moment is possible. That's why bodhicitta is possible, even though it's like feel like far away to reach, but it's possible. It's possible, you know. So, in the Lamrim that's composed by Lama Atishas, path to enlightenment, light of the path to enlightenment. I don't know. It's gone now. It's gone from my mind. Actually, Nidatabi only remember the last two words. Nidatabi Chanjusim Kawe Bebe Chiyago. Nidatabi Chanjusim. Bodhicitta, which is like sun and moon. If you put effort, maybe the Kawe Bebe Chiyago. If you put effort, eons and eons, it could be generated. It could be generated. That's what Master Shantideva said. Not like overnight. It may not take eons and eons, but you have this mindset, oh, this is the best, this is one of the best things to do, even though it takes eons and eons. I put all my effort and energy to develop this incredible, like powerful, the mind, what's called bodhicitta. So then if you have this kind of like mindset, bodhicitta is possible. You could generate bodhicitta. Okay, so very good question, but very important to remember, our life is vulnerable because of these four conditions that makes us vulnerable. Therefore, you should not give up. You should not give up. If you give up, things never, situation is not going to get better. Not just in this life after life, many more life in the future. So now you can think, you can learn, you can think, you can read, you can analyze. With this kind of opportunities, if you cannot defeat delusions, when you are going to defeat? When you are going to defeat? Like when? This is the best chance. This is the best chance, or best opportunity. At least, intellectually remembering that, in daily basis, remembering that. That helps. It's not easy. This is because of these four conditions that makes our life very vulnerable. Therefore, we need wisdom. We need knowledge to protect this vulnerable life. We need more knowledge. We need experience. We need meditative experience. We need knowledge. We need dedications. We need determinations. We need hope. Some human did it. Why you think you cannot do? Some human did it. Some human learned how to do Lamrim meditations. Why you think that you can't learn how to make Lamrim meditations? Why you think you can learn? So I think like yeah, wonderful question. So remember these four conditions. I don't think that you are like failing. You are not failing. You just need to be mindful. You are not failing. You just need to be mindful. Don't walk in the fire. It does like fire is, you're surrounded by fire. Look at where there's some space, there's no fire. You need to walk there. You just need to be mindful, you know. Don't think that you are failing yourself, you know. You just need to be mindful. Mindful for these 4 situations, 4 conditions. You need to be mindful. You need to be careful. So when you go to the store, sometimes when the floor is wet, they put like sign, cautious or cautions. Huh? What's called?
Caution.
You need to be. When you see that sign in the store, you walk around that sign. You don't walk on the sign because you have wisdom. You have wisdom because there's somebody's warning you not to go there, and you learn. You take that warning very seriously, and you walk around. It's not like this is you have to walk on that warning sign. You don't have to walk on that warning sign. You can walk around. Yeah, similar like that. Okay, not easy. So please, no, don't give up. Not easy, no, because like we have been dictated by our ego like too long. So therefore, it's not easy. It's required dedication. It's really required dedication, determinations, mindfulness. You have to be mindful. Okay, mindful. Then you will get better and better and better and better and better. No, so then like eventually somebody hits you, maybe it's not going to hurt your mind at all. It's not going to hurt your mind at all. Yeah, the mind can improve tremendously. It can, the ability, the power of the mind can increase slowly, like, and then you reach in a certain point that you won't believe that the mind can take that much. Or you can like, so need to be mindful. Okay, need to be mindful every day. Need to be mindful. Need to think twice before say something, think something, do something. Need to think twice because there's caution sign everywhere. Need to be mindful. Don't think that you can walk everywhere. It's safe. It's not that. It's not that. You know, because of these 4 conditions. Vasubandhu mentioned in Abhidhamma Kosha, Treasure of Knowledge, chapter number 5. Vasubandhu mentioned it very clearly. Okay, very good question. So, what else, Thomas? Sorry, so much been said because we need to understand our situations.
Thank you, Geshe. Another question that's just came up. It's not related to what we were just saying, but the question is, my pet gecko, Leah, needs to have surgery next Tuesday. I'm worried she might not survive the surgery. What should I do to help her connect to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha?
Oh, first of all, I'm very sorry to hear that. So that's why I just talk about mindfulness. Sooner or later. When you think about the 8 complications that associate with human life, 8 complications that associate with human life. One of them, losing loved one, close one. It will happen to everybody because everybody has loved one, close one. So that's part of the samsaric complications, part of the samsaric complication. particularly part of the human complications that sooner or later, someone that you feel close will die. There's really nothing much you can do. Need to be aware every day, need to be aware. And you yourself probably will finish somehow, that you are not going to be here forever. When you look back in the history, there's all these famous people, not just merely name, all gone. You can see the monument, palace, all of them. So much happened during that era. Everything is now gone. It's just memory. So from after 50 years, our life also become part of the history, that's all. But subtle consciousness, subtle body continues from next life. So it's very also important, as I said, meditating on Lamrim is important. It kind of reminds you every day that, part of the human complication, there's eight human complications. One of them is losing close one, either your friend, family member, your pet. So there's, of course, you feel sad. Everybody will feel, nobody will separate losing loved one, close one. So so I would say we all say prayers, prayers. So then, if you can say some mantra, Tara mantra, meditation Buddha mantra, compassion Buddha mantras, any mantra that if you can say the mantra, it is possible if you can bring your pet, you can bring that around the stupa at the Kadamba Center. So nice weather, you can bring lunch and you can eat lunch there. Meanwhile, you bring your pet around the stupa. So the stupa contains so many relics. So then that's the best opportunity you can offer to your pet. So when you bring your pet around the stupa, so they create particular, not just merit, they create particular merit called tapachadi gyatsa, root virtues similar to liberations, what's called tapachadi gyatsa, root virtues similar to liberations, that particular. So that virtues is not going to get destroyed by any negative thought. So that you are offering the opportunities, the pet that you love so much, and you are being part of your pet's future liberations, future freedoms, okay? So that's something you can do, bring your pet on the stupa and say a mantra. If you have like some CDs, like the prayer has been said CDs, so then you can play that. So if you don't have one, so maybe, I have some, so maybe I'll probably to drop at the center, so maybe Thomas, you can pick it up, you can play that, okay? So that's all that you can do, but sooner or later, either it's your life or your close one, you need to let it go. You can't just hold on that forever. So that goes against impermanent, teaching of impermanent, okay? And I'm sorry to hear that, so I'll pray, so remember my daily prayer every day. I pray, so I'll remember that. So then you also pray, and if it's possible, bring around the stupa. Oh, yeah. Then what else?
So another question, how much do our actions in this life affect our conditions in this life if all our conditions are determined by completion karma that is already ripening?
Say it again one more time, please.
How much do our actions in this life affect our conditions in this life if all our conditions are determined by completion karma that is already ripening?
Oh, very good questions. Very good questions. When you think about karma, they're like Tongchun Yongjur. Some karma ripen in this life, called Tongchun Yongjur. Karma that ripen in this life. That happens occasionally. Chini Yongjur, some karma ripen right after this life. Some karma takes few more lifetimes. Kind of probably interrupted by different form of life, interrupted, maybe time of death, the virtues thought to rise. So there's some positive seed been fertilized. The next life will be, could be like human again. Or you can purify them. You can purify them. It's not, don't think like, oh, negative karma has been created, there's nothing I can do. Wrong. Ignorance, wrong. 100% wrong. Anything that get dirty can be clean. Anything that get dirty can be clean, whether it's like cup, plate, cloth, mind, body, hair, mustache. Anything that get dirty, but it doesn't have, the dirty thing doesn't have qualities, but it has one quality, it can be clean. It can be clean. Mind can be clean. You don't have to live with dirty mind, you can clean them. Like dishes, you can clean. But unfortunately, there's no dishwasher for mind. You can clean, you can purify, okay? So, some karma that happened in this life doesn't only refer to negative one, that also refers to positive one too. Same thing, some positive karma does not ripen in this life, it may ripen next life, it may ripen a couple of lifetimes. Same like seed has potential to grow. It doesn't mean it will grow now. It may grow next year. It may grow next month. If all the conditions comes together, you have seed, but you have no interest to plant them. So maybe you forget, or you thinking, oh, maybe next week. So then something happens, so that seed get postponed. Maybe that seed get probably postponed next month, maybe. Next year, maybe you will plant. Same thing like that. Then if you burn that seed, nothing will grow from there. Nothing will grow. So that means like burning karma, purifying karma, same thing. Karma can be like huge as like hair, but purification practice can be tiny as spark. Tiny as spark. This tiny spark will burn this whole hair, like, I'm not sure, a couple hundred pounds, weighs a couple hundred pounds. This tiny spark can be burned. Tiny spark has ability to burn all this. Darkness in the room has been there hundreds of years. One moment of light will display the darkness. It's been there 100 years, 10 years. One moment of light will display the darkness. Same thing. Negative karma can be purified, So probably I think it's like, I'm not sure, like it is 100% correct to say everything happening in this life is due to the previous karma. Because all the enjoyment that you experience in this life, not 100% produced by previous karma. So your actions in this life, cause many of them to make you happy. So cause many of them makes you unhappy. I don't think you can just say 100% everything happening in this life is already determined by previous karma from previous life. That's not, you can. I don't think. I don't have clear answer, but I don't. In my personal opinions, I don't think that's accurate. That's accurate assessment. Because when you could say you have choice. You could say nice things. You could say mean things. This is related to this life. This body is related to this life. This body is not coming from previous life. Previous life, you don't have the same looking body. Maybe you have different body. This body, all this gross consciousness, very subtle gross consciousness refers to six senses. This is very much based on this life. So every joy you get, saying something kind through positive motivations, you receive enjoyment, that's produced in this life. It's not determined by previous life. Okay? So the some karma can ripen this life, can take one more life, multiple life. If you purify them, you never experience the result. Karma can be purified. You can purify. So if you have strong regret, if you really regret from deep down from your heart, just that will purify, that will make the karma weak, very weak. The weak karma cannot produce complete result and easy to purify. It's not like that you have to run 100 miles out of the lake. You can just, you can just sit there, you can purify them, you can just sit. Reciting, like Vajrasattva mantra, any positive deed, even though there are certain practice labeled as a purification practice, but any positive deed, verbal positive, physical positive, mental positive, thinking something positive, purifies. Okay? So your karma can be purified. You don't need to get drowned with that negativities. Negativity. You can purify them. Okay? It's very important. So yeah, so when you think about the benefit of the Vajrasattva practice, it's mind-blowing. Even just remembering the name of the Buddha Vajrasattva, purifying each and every negative karma, why we don't do? Why? Why we don't do? Why you just continuously feeling bad, and why you help yourself? Why you don't help yourself to feel good? Why you are making yourself all the time like feeling bad? Why? Doesn't make sense. Well, why are you trying to make yourself a little bit happier by doing something? Merely remembering Buddha Vajrasattva names purifies each and every negative karma. Can you say one mantra a day? Is that possible? Just one. Then you can say, I love myself, I have compassion to myself, I love myself. Don't just talk about self-love, self-compassion, self-respect, doing nothing. It's just word. The self-love, self-compassion, self-respect show some actions. Just one mantra a day, that's impossible. If you don't get a chance to say one mantra a day, you are never ever going to find chance. No matter how many human lives you get, you're never going to find a chance at all. Even just one mantra. Saying the Omane Padme Hum, the books that are written by Tibetan King Songtsen Gumbo, there's 1,000 pages long, all about Mani mantra. As I mentioned many times, you can count every hair on this four-legged animal on this planet. You can count all of them one by one. It can be counted. Reciting Mani mantra, the merit you created cannot be counted. It's far more then that. Does that really shook you up? Is that it is? You don't find a time to say just one mantra a day? That's impossible. That's impossible. There should not be any excuse at all just to say the one mantra. Why you do that? Not because you are Buddhist, because you love yourself, you care for yourself, you try to make yourself happier, not just sit with this negative, that's feeling bad all the time, doing nothing. Not good, that's not good, that's not good life, that's not good life. You are not living good life. That's not good. Instead of your own happiness, you should do, it's like, yeah, it's impossible to that kind of blows your mind. Wow, I'm human, I can learn, I can read, I can learn, I can say. They're just merely remembering the Buddha Vajrasattva name, purified each and every negative karma. If I say the mantra, wow, that's that's really mind-blowing. So that kind of motivates you, and you feel good. You don't feel bad, you feel good. You feel like you achieved something. You feel like you have done something for yourself, for your happiness. That's all. For your happiness, that's all. Oh, so then you are living good life. You are living good life. At least, like every day something. We are not going to feel good for doing nothing. Usually we feel good if we feel like if we achieve something, So that's very, very important. That karma can be purified. Okay, karma can be purified. Don't get discouraged. Karma can be purified. Someone who killed 999 human beings, able to purify all that karma in this life and manage to achieve liberations. Why you are thinking that you cannot purify? Why? Why you are thinking that you cannot purify? Why you think you are one of the worst person on this planet? Why? Oh, somebody who took 999 human life managed to purify this life, Buddha's lifetime, this life, managed to achieve liberations. Now you are sitting there not thinking, why I can't purify. That's wrong. That's like ignorance. That's wrong. Thinking, so that's not good, so need to help yourself. Okay, karma can be purified, Meditating on compassion purifies. Meditating on bodhicitta purifies. Purifies, Thinking about bodhicitta purifies. Don't need to bring like 100 pounds of rock and climb on the mountain. No need to do that. No need to go through the physical hardship. You can just sit comfortable in your room. Just sit down, meditate, or maybe walk around some holy object, put it in the middle of the room, walk around, purifies. You have to find all kinds of ways to help yourself. You don't need to just sit down. You put something in the holy object in the middle of your room, just go around 3 times, purifies. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult at all. It's not difficult at all. We need to come to our senses. So put things into perspective. How you say thing? How you say nearly things put into?
Put things into perspective.
Yeah, put things in perspective. All my friends, I'm not just talking. I'm trying myself every day, and I hope you do the same thing. Help yourself. So then think about all your friends. Think about their happiness too, and pray for them. So then it's good. It's good that you are living, you are at least doing something every day. So then when the life comes to close to it, you have no regret and ready to go. nothing to hold on, pretty much 100% ready to go, nothing to hold on. Okay? Yeah, I think now time is over, so maybe there are 2 minutes so now. Sorry, so I show like, I show grumpy face. How is it, grumpy? What do you call grumpy? Yeah, I don't show.
Grumpy.
Huh?
Grumpy.
Yeah, grumpy. I show grumpy face because this is serious things. Yeah. What else?
There is one other question for today.
So see how long, let me hear the question.
Okay.
How long?
The question is, when we do practices and say prayers for others, do they receive the benefit only if they have the merit or karma to receive the benefit?
No. They benefit. They benefit because of your karmic connections. Your karmic connection with that person, they benefit. They definitely benefit. So they, not just this life, many more life, how you pray. If you're just praying for their, this life, they get benefit. No, people shouldn't pray for just for this life. The person you are connected materially, you get benefited materially, or then like emotionally, you pray for their, this is your moral responsibility to pray for them, not just this life, many more life in the future, So they get, because Milarepa said, me and my attendants, there's like sign that we are going to get enlightened together. There's like auspicious sign, me and my attendant, we are going to get enlightened. What his attendant does, helps Milarepa, cooks, cleans, probably thinking in mind, I never get chance to meditate, sometimes probably get jealous. I never get chance to meditate. I always serving him. Not knowing what he's doing is the most important things, helping. And one time, the Milarepa in the big congregation, when he's giving teaching, he said, me and my attendant, that's auspicious sign, we are going to get enlightened together. Actually, it's not just attendant, all the person who supported Milarepa, materially supported him, so to him to continue his practice. Tala gombe gomjeda, tala gombe gomje, ta means rock. Gomje means great hermit. Great hermit who's meditating on the rock, refers to Milarepa himself. Tala gombe gomjeda, tsowa jwe, yondani, tsowa means basic necessity. Whomever provide the basic necessity for him. So that mainly refers to the attendant, but together all the people who provide him necessity for him to do his practice comfortably. Tala gome gomjeda tsowa jwe yondani sanyem do jebe 10 years. That's auspicious sign we are going to get enlightened together. And then probably how there's like auspicious sign, how there's this auspicious sign. Maybe somebody asked, what is the, how, why there's auspicious sign? The Milarepa said, essence of auspicious sign is dedications. Therefore, everybody should take dedications very seriously. That means Milarepa meditate. Every single merit the Milarepa created comfortably, supported by all the people, all the people who supported him materially, and Milarepa, in the end of for his practice, he dedicated for them. Not just this life, he dedicated for their future enlightenment. So that's what Milarepa says. That's auspicious sign. Dedication is the essence of auspicious sign. So Milarepa does that every single day. So that's why that's auspicious sign. Okay. So definitely benefited. You pray for them, they'll get definitely benefited. No doubt, no questions. All right. Very good. So thank you very much, all of you. So coming here, anybody watching on YouTube, also you have a wonderful night. So maybe see you next Wednesday. And be mindful. The life is not free from vulnerable. My life is very vulnerable based on these 4 situations. Okay. Thank you very much, and everybody have a wonderful night. Oh yeah. Then maybe Lamu, we do the dedication. Huh?
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may we quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta has not arisen, rise, and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra realize things as they are, all these merits in the best way, that we may follow their perfect example. We dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praises list by the first ones thus gone of the 3 times, so we might perform good works. We dedicate whatever virtues we have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, in my particular for the essential teachings of pure Losang Drapa to shine forever. In the long life prayers for His Holiness, in the land encircled by snow mountains, where the source of all happiness and good, all powerful Chenrezi Tenzin Gatso, please remain until samsara ends, and then one for Sarah J. against the Jitsu no Sandala, the one who mastered speech at a very young age, nations who received the name Avatare, the one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lama Tsokapa and Bliss and Void, Lama, ornament of the yellow hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. And the one for Lama Tsongkhapa Rinpoche, you uphold the subduer's moral way, bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels, save for myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-objective. Manjushri, master of stainless wisdom. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows. To Losang Drapa, at your feet, I make request. Om Taritu Re Soha. 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 Om Taritu Re Soha.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh yeah. Good night.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Geshe.
Thank you, Lama.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Lama.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe.
Geshe. Thank you, Lama.
Everyone.
Thank you, Tana.